Ladies and gentlemen, I know I'm late to the party here, and you know what? It is what it is. But a big blockbuster trade happened, and at the end of the day, it sends one of the best players in this generation to the Houston Rockets, and in return, Phoenix get an interesting haul. Whether or not it was a good enough trade or not remains to be seen, ladies and gentlemen, but I want to talk about it and I want to do it in this video. But before we get any further, if you liked the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and let me know what you guys think about the trade that took place between the Phoenix Suns and the Houston Rockets. And yes, there are obviously different things now that have played out that probably could have allowed both teams to benefit from something like this. With that being said, it is still time to talk about it. So, the initial trade that we're going to be discussing is obviously the Kevin Durant one. He is sent to the Houston Rockets, and in return, the Phoenix Suns got the number 10th overall pick, Dillon Brooks, and Jalen Green, ladies and gentlemen. So, two players that, were on the second seed of a team, and they got the 10th overall pick, and you know kind of what happened with that as well. I feel they did some moves and whatnot. They got two centers out of it. They got Mark Williams out of it as well. So Phoenix, I'm not here to talk about those things, but Phoenix did what they did there. They obviously got big men help, which I think they so desperately needed, and they also now got Jalen Green and Dillon Brooks. I'm not sure whether or not that's going to be their long-term goal is to keep those players. I've heard rumors that Jalen Green is supposedly supposed to be on the move again, and they're trying to shop him out again, but at the end of the day, that also remains to be seen. I'm going to quickly check if anything has happened there. Why not? Things are just so crazy in the NBA at the moment. But, yeah, altogether, it's an interesting trade. With Phoenix, I feel like the Houston Rockets will be easier to talk about. But with Phoenix, there are two things that make this beneficial. But ultimately, you have to ask the question whether or not they did enough. The first thing is, with what they did with the draft picks and they getting their centers, they do get big men help. They just whatever big men they went for, whether it was DeAndre Ayton or Nurkic or whoever it was, it just wasn't enough, and they didn't have the appropriate big man to help in what was a very offensively stacked team. Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, they've got a couple of good three-point shooting role players around them as well. They had a good offensive team, but it wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough. And the second thing is, they get a little bit more defensive help with a guy like Dillon Brooks. So if their goal is to go and compete again, yes, they lose one of the best players in the league today, one of the best players in the world in Kevin Durant, and that is definitely going to hurt. But at the same time, if you're going for a balanced roster, I think this helps the Phoenix Suns. Dillon Brooks is one of the better defenders in the league. He has a little bit of that arrogance to him and a little bit of that attitude to him that you would hate as an opposing team, but you would like on your team. And again, I think it brings more balance to the Phoenix Suns, whereas the team they previously had was a stacked team. I mean, on paper, if you played if you play with that team on 2K or something, they're almost unbeatable. But it's just on paper. We all had our questions when they did the Kevin Durant deal and the Bradley Beal deal. We all had our questions. How they're going to play without a point guard. How they're going to go defensively. The big man help and the coaching. They fired their coach, in my opinion, too early. So all these things played a factor. And now at least there is a little bit more balance. With Jalen Green, we haven't really talked much about him. But a lot of people are just saying, you know what? He's a liability now. He didn't have a great playoff push. He's very inconsistent. And unfortunately, that's going to lead to his demise. I mean, the guy he averaged 21 points per game, ladies and gentlemen. Not to mention as well, he is still really, really young. I mean, we could check his age while we're at it here. But again, we need to stop calling young players liabilities. Sorry, I'm trying to find the keyboard. My keyboard is all over the place. He's 23 years of age, ladies and gentlemen. He's 23 years old. We need to stop calling young players a liability. I mean, he doesn't have much playoff experience, and yes, he was in the second seed. They probably should have beat the Warriors when it was all said and done, and he did not have a great playoff experience, but that doesn't mean he's a liability. It doesn't mean anything in terms of what his future could be. I'm sick of young players being ruled out in this league. And for Jalen Green, who now has all this detriment to his name now, has all this negativity and these negative connotations about who he is as a player and what he does in terms of, I guess, his play, now will have a point to prove in Phoenix. And I think Phoenix would be a good environment to show what he can do, because the Phoenix Suns are going to need now someone like a Jalen Green to find his game and find an extra step, or whoever he plays for, even if it's not the Phoenix Suns. He's going to have a point to prove in that regard. So I wish him nothing but the best. It is a very weird situation. We'll see what happens there. And yeah, the 10th overall pick. The question is, did they do enough? In my opinion, they could have got more for Kevin Durant, in all honesty. But at the end of the day, we all knew Kevin Durant was going to get traded. And that hurts a team, ladies and gentlemen. It hurts the market value. It hurts everything in relation to that situation. When Kevin Durant made it so public that he wanted to leave Phoenix, or that the Phoenix Suns made it so public as well that they were looking to ship out Kevin Durant, it wasn't even one or the other. I felt like Kevin Durant would have been happy in Phoenix if he had another year there. But yeah, it was just such a publicized situation. I don't know who caused it, who started it, but it was such a publicized situation. It hurts the market value for a player of Kevin Durant's caliber. And I think they could have got more, but does that mean what they got was terrible? No. Again, their balance is a lot better now, and I do think they should have a little bit more room to go and maybe sign a point guard or to bring different bench help that could still make them a relatively competitive side heading into next season. But with the West so stacked, that is a question mark at best. And then we turn to the Houston Rockets. I mean, it's Kevin Durant. It's Kevin Durant. I mean, how could we sit here and say the Houston Rockets didn't do anything in this regard? Or how can you even say the Houston Rockets lost this trade? You can't. You just can't say it. They got Kevin Durant, guys. I mean, sure, Kevin Durant gets traded a lot these days, but at his best, he is unbelievable to watch. I mean, I feel like people, because of how often he gets traded, they use that to the detriment of Kevin Durant without actually watching him as a player. Not only has he evolved as a playmaker in recent years because of, the pressure that he provides on offense as a scorer, but he's developed as a playmaker so much as well that that's going to help the Houston Rockets just as much as his scoring ability. But now they've got someone that is a bona fide star and has bona fide playoff experience. So there's no doubt in my mind the Houston Rockets. I mean, even if Kevin Durant, God forbid, because I want Kevin Durant to be healthy, but let's just say he got hurt towards the regular season, the Houston Rockets are going to have enough to get to the playoffs. I really believe that. But if Kevin Durant is healthy in the NBA playoffs, they've got a bona fide star with playoff experience that knows the big stage, knows what it's like in the big stage, and can perform on the big stage as well. They have that player now. They have someone they can rely on, because that team, second seed, was very inexperienced as a playoff team. Now they have someone that has done it on the big stage, has made the big shots, has given it to the best players in the world, and has won championships and finals MVPs. That's what Kevin Durant is for them, ladies and gentlemen. That's exactly what they need as well. They took a big risk, and that risk, I think, is going to pay off for them a lot more than a couple of other deals where they go after big superstars. I think this deal's really going to work out for the Houston Rockets. Not to mention, they got rid of a scorer in Jalen Green, and they get a better scorer in Kevin Durant. Yes, they lose Dillon Brooks, but I think it's a sacrifice worth making. I think Houston had enough defense on their team to live without a Dillon Brooks. So they still got Thompson on the team. They still got young forwards, young wing players as well. They even have Şengün still. It's a crazy team over there in Houston. They're going to be so fun to watch, ladies and gentlemen. I'm excited for the season to begin again because I want to see that team and I want to see how they do. So yeah, I think both teams in the end, I think Phoenix tried to make the best out of that situation, and I think Houston took advantage of that and won this deal and has a team for the future now. I really believe that. They're going to be contending next season and the season after. And reports saying that KD plans to retire in Houston. Look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you if that's the truth or not. No one knows that except for Kevin Durant. But if that's the type of words he's giving, obviously you could be worried that he's retiring soon. But it could also mean that he actually feels so comfortable with Houston that he's going to stay here for the rest of his career, whether that's 2-3 more years or whether that's 5 or 6. He plans to stay on Houston. And with someone with that ability, I think you should be very happy with something like that. What do you think? I will see you guys in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care. And peace.